In the news this week, China's new Consul General speaks on bilateral relations, AUKUS, green energy and her goals. A WA News exclusive.
Also tonight, WA government rejects calls for Voice to Parliament 2.0, backs treaty process as Victoria says yes. New homes in Perth's southeast as fast-track housing implemented to ease rental crisis. And later, Dr. Andrew Miller's comment.
This is The Evening News with Ivan Loon and Naliva Thorne.
Good evening. China's new top diplomat to Western Australia, Fu Lihua, begins her role as Consul General in Perth as Australia continues to navigate challenging waters in foreign affairs. In her only local media interview since her appointment, she answered key questions on Australia-China bilateral relations, AUKUS defence, green energy, her goals for the term, and what it all means for you. Steve Anderson has this exclusive interview.
Consul General, thank you for your time. This is your first posting in Australia. How would you describe China-Australia relations currently?
Thank you very much for giving me the chance to meet with the press. To my eyes, China and Australia are both important countries in the Asia-Pacific region and members of the G20. Since the establishment of diplomatic relations in 1972, bilateral ties have remained resilient. Despite some ups and downs, the overall trend of moving forward has never changed. China has always attached great importance to developing its relations with Australia. In the past 3 years, President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Albanese have met 4 times. Under the strategic guidance of the leaders of both countries, China and Australia relations have regained positive momentum, delivering real benefits to both peoples. The most important insight that gives the two sides is that treating each other as equals, seeking common ground while shelving differences, and mutually beneficial cooperation serve the fundamental interests of both countries and peoples. There are some historical grievances. There are no historical grievances or fundamental conflicts of interest between China and Australia. The two economies are highly complementary, and the two sides share common interests in safeguarding multilateralism.
Prime Minister Albanese earlier this year made his visit to China. How would you say that China-Australia relations have changed since that visit?
In July, Prime Minister Albanese paid a very successful visit to China. During their meeting, President Xi Jinping emphasized that China and Australia should continue to enhance strategic mutual trust, deepen and expand mutual beneficial cooperation, foster people-to-people friendship more broadly, and work together to address risks and challenges. That sets the direction for the future development of bilateral relations and gets positive response from Prime Minister Albanese. Since then, China and Australia have engaged in frequent dialogue, exchanges, and cooperation. On Monday this week, Chinese Premier Li Qiang met with Prime Minister Albanese in Malaysia. That is the 7th meeting of them. Both sides agreed that bilateral relations continue to show a positive and improving momentum, with steady progress in exchanges and cooperation across various fields.
Okay, so what goals do you have that will actually promote cooperation between Australia and China?
You mean West Australia?
Between China and Western Australia.
Okay, I understand that. Practical cooperation between China and West Australia stands as a model of China-Australia cooperation. For many years, China has been WA's largest trading partner, export market, and source of imports. Also, people-to-people exchanges have been very close and long-standing. As the 11th Consul General of China in Perth, I'm committed to working with people from all walks of life in WA to consolidate cooperation in traditional sectors and expand collaboration in emerging fields such as green economy, digital industries, and high technology.
So I understand there was a recent important meeting which took place in China. What were the outcomes of that meeting, and what will that mean for Western Australia?
In the next 5 years, China will steadfastly follow the path of green development. It will continue to promote green and low-carbon transformation, injecting more positive energy into global cooperation on climate governance. Also, in the next 5 years, China will open up even wider to the outside world. China will continue to embrace economic globalization, advance reform and development through opening up, uphold true multilateralism, and share opportunities and development with the rest of the world. China stands ready to share this and pursue common developments with all countries, including Australia. This will also provide strong impetus for WA's economic diversification and energy transition, bringing new opportunities for deeper practical cooperation between China and WA across various fields.
What is China's viewpoint on AUKUS and specifically Western Australia's involvement in the AUKUS?
Actually, I think our spokesperson of the Foreign Ministry has more than once made very clear our position on the so-called trilateral security partnership between the US, the UK, and Australia, designed to advance cooperation on nuclear submarines and other cutting-edge military technologies. We oppose bloc confrontation and anything that increases the risk of nuclear proliferation and exacerbates arms race, because we believe that this goes against the trend of the times and does not align with the common aspirations of countries in the region. Australia is a non-nuclear country, and I have noticed that many Australians, especially people in WA, are deeply concerned about the safe handling of nuclear waste. China has always advocated for strengthening regional cooperation, safeguarding peace and stability, and promoting common development to build a peaceful, stable, and prosperous Pacific region.
So do you believe that AUKUS will lead to an increase in regional confrontation?
We hope that will not be the case. Actually, I believe that as comprehensive strategic partners, China and Australia are friends, not rivals. China's development represents an opportunity, not a challenge. So for Australia, China stands ready to work with them to take more actions that help enhance mutual trust and promote peace and stability in the region, not the opposite.
And finally, what are your goals that you have set out? Your personal goals. Could you explain them?
I arrived here only a little bit more than 1 month ago, and up to now, my personal goal can be summed up in 4 words: deepening friendship and advancing cooperation. Since my arrival on September 16th, I have had the privilege of paying courtesy calls on the governor, the premier, the leader of the opposition, and director of DFAT WA State Office. I look forward to continuing to explore the vast, beautiful, and resource-rich state of WA, engage widely with people from all regions and walks of life, listening to their views and ideas, and actively promoting cooperation in various fields.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
That was Steve Anderson's exclusive interview.
You can watch the full interview on WMN News' social media pages from Monday onwards. The push for a WA Voice to Parliament 2.0 is set to stall as the state government rejects calls from First Nations leaders to establish a third chamber with veto powers. Premier Roger Cook says current treaty processes offer a better way forward, despite Victoria establishing its own First Nations state voice this week. Paige Reid reports.
5 weeks after First Nations leader Megan Cracker and Ted Wilkes demanded for a state-based Voice to Parliament 2.0, Victoria has passed their Voice 2.0. WA Premier Roger Cook says he has no intention of changing Parliament despite the growing representation of First Nations people.
We don't have any intent to change the nature of the Parliament. We do want to continue to have the conversation with Aboriginal communities, particularly in the lead up to 2029, on what the future looks like.
He says that WA already leads the nation with large amounts of land and treaty-style agreements with First Nations people.
In Western Australia, you have some of the biggest treaties ever crafted in the country. The Southwest Land Agreement, the Southern Yamaji Agreement, important non-native title agreements which are about acknowledging traditional owners and about providing rights and interests about the way we move forward together.
The Premier says these are the sort of changes the Parliament wants to see over making structural changes. He says that whether a treaty is a better path than a third chamber, there is still room for changes.
I just think that treaties take all forms. And in Western Australia, we've got some significant treaties which are nation and world leading.
We asked viewers how they felt about pushing for a second voice. 82% rejected the state voice, whilst only 15% wanted to go ahead. And that's followed by significant commentaries from multicultural advocates and former Liberal MPs. Although not looking to move in the same direction as Victoria, Roger Cook says he would rather strengthen WA through treaties and partnerships. Paige Reid, WAMN News.
An East Cannington man has been charged for aiming a laser at a police aircraft. At around 10:45 p.m. on Wednesday, October 29th, police said a high-powered green laser was pointed at their plane for several seconds, forcing crews to take evasive action. Using infrared technology, the crew traced the source to a house in East Cannington. Ground officers arrested a 39-year-old man allegedly seizing a laser pointer during a search. He faced 2 charges, causing fear or alarm with a laser and possessing a controlled weapon. He was bailed to appear in Armidale Magistrates Court on November 11th. In a statement, police says pointing laser at aircraft is illegal and it can impair vision, distort pilots, or even bring down an aircraft. If caught, perpetrators will face penalties of up to $36,000 fines or 7 years in jail.
The Cook government says it is speeding up social housing delivery using modern construction methods that cut build times. Planning and Lands Minister John Kerry visited new homes in Champion Lakes, where 10 dwellings were completed in 9 months, faster than the national average of about a year. The project includes 7 2-bedroom and 3 1-bedroom units near public transport, shops and schools. Development WA said prefabricated timber walls, roofs and repeatable designs helped fast-track construction. Each home achieved a 7-star energy rating with electric appliances and heat pump systems. Champion Lakes is part of 81 new social homes across 6 suburbs, including Mirrabooka, Kwinana and Gosnells. Once finished, the properties will be managed by the Department of Housing and Works for public housing tenants. Mr Carey said the government aims to boost housing supply through innovation and industry partnerships, noting a $5.8 billion investment in housing and homelessness since 2021.
The WA government has unveiled a terracotta warrior-themed lantern installation in Forest Place to illuminate and enliven Perth city centre. 80 colourful lanterns shaped like warriors, civilians, horses and chariots celebrate the WA Museum's Terracotta Warriors Legacy of the First Emperor exhibition. First displayed at 2008 Beijing Olympics, the lanterns are on loan from the Beijing Chaoyang International Cultural Exchange Association. The City of Perth and WA Museum are jointly showcasing them to paint the city jade. Now halfway through its run, the exhibition has already drawn 160,000 visitors, making it the museum's most popular yet. The free lantern display runs in Forest Place until November 9th, then moved to Elizabeth Quay until November 26th, and finally to WA Museum Boulevard, remaining visible in Perth until late February.
And now, here is Dr. Andrew Miller with his weekly medical and news commentary.
Hi, thanks for your time. One of the most pleasurable things on the calendar is the annual AMA Awards night, of which the AMA and WA gets to recognise people who seek no attention for themselves. They're not in their game to make money. there in medicine for their patients and to contribute to the community. So congratulations to people like Dr. Daniel Hunt, who got the Advocate of the Year award for his work with Indigenous patients and tailoring his practice to suit the culture and the community, particularly making sure that people have their needs met as quickly as possible when the window of opportunity arises. And I think that's something that we can all learn from. Pramana Medical Centre, Medical Practice of the Year. Congratulations, also doing great work amongst homeless and Indigenous communities. And we gave awards to Medical Students of the Year and Junior Doctors in Training. St John of God Healthcare picked up a gong for really treating their training doctors very, very well on the hospital health checks that we do. And the President's Award this year went to Elizabeth Perrin, the very generous and very thoughtful chair of the Perrin Foundation, which is been a long-term contributor, that family, to research into childhood cancers and things like that. Fantastic to see people giving back to the community. Dr. Simon Towler also recognised with a Hippocrates Award for his contribution as Chief Medical Officer and a real leader in medicine in the state. So whilst we get sometimes distracted by the problems in our health system, it's great that the AMA takes time to also recognise the great achievements, particularly of individuals who, as I say, not promoting themselves, but need to be pulled out of the crowd every now and then and given the recognition that they deserve.
Thank you, Doctor.
Well, as you can see earlier, the Terracotta Warrior is on. The town's in a buzz. Are you going to go see it?
I'm definitely planning to. I'm hoping to go with some friends and we can catch the exhibition. What about you, Ivan?
I haven't seen it yet, but having said that, though, I've seen the real ones, right, in Xi'an when I was in year 8.
Oh, wow.
I was just a kid back then, and of course, you know, those photos of me in big glasses, everything, and you got to go to those really film shops where you take the pictures, and there's limited amount of films that you have to pull them into. That's right, and then put them into the albums. I want to dig it out. But having said that, though, I haven't seen the real thing yet, but I think there's something new this time. That
sounds like an amazing experience, and I hope everyone gets to share it. And that's our weekly news and current affairs. We have the latest news on our website, wamnnews.com.au.
Subscribe to WAMN Extra News Club, supporting independent local news, keeping democracy strong. Full details on wamnews.com.au/news/extra. From the page, and Peter and myself, wish you good health, good night. See you next week.
Thanks for watching.